You've watched hundreds of motivational videos. You have read dozens of self-help books, attended seminars, lectures from all type of gurus, watched and dreamed about the people who already have the lifestyle you want. You know about the discipline. You understand the habits. You've heard every version of just stay consistent. And yet, nothing really changed. Not in a way that matters. So the question isn't, what are you missing? The real question is, why did none of it work? This is because in today's deep dive, we will discuss a very known concept of nothing much changes until you change. A theory first described by Jim Rohn that describes the very basic principle of personal transformation that starts with you. It is very easy to achieve, and at the same time, it is very difficult just because it is too easy to achieve. Welcome to the deep dive. There is this really strange psychological phenomenon that happens when you're sitting in a waiting room.
Oh yeah, like the DMV or something.
Exactly. Say you're at the DMV or a doctor's office or even just, sitting in an airport terminal waiting for a delayed flight. Your entire sense of agency just sort of evaporates.
It totally does. You just power down.
Right. You enter this state of suspended animation.
Yeah.
You are completely at the mercy of some external force to call your number or, announce your boarding group. And it's this bizarre feeling of powerlessness that we just accept as completely normal.
Well, psychologists actually have a term for that specific mental state.
Yeah.
It relates really closely to learned helplessness.
Oh, interesting. Learned helplessness.
Yeah, because when we are in an environment where we perceive our actions have absolutely no effect on the outcome, our brains essentially power down our proactive faculties.
Wow. So we just give up, basically.
Pretty much. We outsource our progress to someone else's timeline. You are literally just waiting for the environment to change around you so that you can finally move forward.
And it is a deeply uncomfortable feeling, right? If you really stop to analyze it, which is probably why we immediately reach for our phones to distract ourselves from that lack of control.
Oh, for sure. The phone is the ultimate waiting room pacifier because it captures the default human condition perfectly. We naturally look outside of ourselves for the reasons we aren't where we want to be.
Yeah, we really do. And the reason I bring all this up today is because we are looking at a philosophy, this is drawn from the classic lectures of Jim Rohn, that argues most of us are living our entire adult lives as if we are sitting in that waiting room.
It's a huge wake-up call, honestly.
It is. We treat our careers, our physical health, our finances, as if we're just clutching a little paper ticket, staring at a digital monitor, and waiting for external circumstances to finally align and call our number.
And that operates as a psychological defense mechanism, It's a way to protect our ego.
Wait, how does that protect the ego?
Well, think about the delayed flight. If the flight is delayed, it's the airline's fault. We experience zero guilt about missing our meeting, right? The ego is safe.
Oh, I see. Because it's out of my hand.
Exactly. But applying that waiting room logic to the trajectory of your entire life is a really dangerous game.
Yeah.
Because it completely strips you of your autonomy.
It really does.
Yeah.
So let's unpack the reality of that. Because the foundation of this source material starts with this brilliant, almost uncomfortable reality check. It's called the not much list.
The not much list is iconic. It's so blunt.
Right. It is a literal inventory of all the external things people usually count on to improve their lives. And I'll be honest, I have absolutely caught myself waiting on almost every single one of these items at some point.
We all have. Because the human brain craves external scapegoats.
Exactly. We just assume that if these things changed, my life would magically level up. So the repetition of this list in the material, it's a cognitive exercise designed to dismantle those external excuses one by one.
It really forces you to confront the math of your own expectations.
So true. Okay, first up on the not much list. What if all of your negative relatives suddenly turned positive?
Oh man, the family dynamics one, that's a big one.
It's huge. We all have those family members who just drain our energy,
Yeah.
The ones who critique every career move or financial decision we make.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving dinner critics.
Exactly. And the immediate thought is always like, well, if they were just supportive, my life would be so much easier. I would have the confidence to launch that business or whatever.
Right. We blame them for our lack of action.
But if that miraculous familial transformation actually happened overnight, they just wake up completely supportive, what is the actual measurable impact on our future? What does it do for our fortunes?
Not much. I mean, it might make Thanksgiving dinner slightly more digestible, but someone else's newfound sunny disposition does not write your business plan.
Yeah. It doesn't do the work for you.
It does not compound the interest in your retirement account, and it certainly does not lower your cholesterol. Their negativity was never the actual barrier to your success. It was just a highly convenient excuse to mask your own hesitation.
Ouch. Yeah, that is a tough pill to swallow, but it's so true. Okay, next on the list, and I think this one is universal, especially right now. What if prices came down?
Oh, the inflation argument. Everyone relies on this one.
Because we are constantly waiting for the cost of living to drop. We're waiting for housing to cool off, for groceries to be cheaper. We assume that lower prices are the key to finally getting ahead financially.
But again, the answer is not much. Macroeconomic fluctuations like prices dropping a few percentage points, they do not fundamentally alter your personal wealth trajectory if your underlying behavioral habits are broken.
Right, because if you have bad habits, cheaper goods just mean you buy more of them, right?
Exactly. Think about the psychology of spending. If you lack financial discipline, cheaper prices don't suddenly turn you into a saver. They just mean you will buy a higher volume of things you don't actually need.
Wow, yeah. A drop in prices doesn't magically transform you from a consumer into an investor.
It really doesn't. You're still operating on the exact same flawed software, just in a slightly cheaper environment.
Which flows right into the broader hope on the list. What if the overall economy just gets better? We watch the stock market, we read the jobs reports, waiting for this, mythical boom to carry us upward.
And again, not much. A booming economy doesn't automatically hand you a promotion if you haven't actively developed your skill set.
Yeah, that makes sense. You still have to do the work to be valuable in that economy.
Right. There's that old saying, that a rising tide lifts all boats. But if your boat has a massive hole in the hull because of poor daily habits, you are still going to sink.
You're just going to sink in slightly higher, more expensive water.
That is perfectly put, yes.
Okay, so I want to look at the last item on the not much list because it is arguably the most pervasive in modern society, and that is politics.
Oh, yeah. This is where people get really stuck.
It is so easy to look at whoever's in political power, whether that's the left or the right, doesn't matter, and think, well, if my team wins, my life gets better.
Yeah.
And if the other team wins, I'm doomed.
People tie their entire potential for future happiness to election cycles. It's wild.
It really is. So what actually happens when the political party you support finally takes complete control? Does it change your life?
The outcome is identical. Not much. And this is a crucial piece of the philosophy to internalize, completely independent of whatever political ideology you hold.
Right, because we are completely impartial here. This isn't about which side is right.
Exactly. The argument the source makes is that shifting political power does very little for an individual's personal day-to-day trajectory if that individual lacks a personal plan of action.
Because legislation does not dictate your morning routine.
It doesn't. A new tax policy doesn't force you to read 10 pages of a book every night. A new president doesn't make you walk on the treadmill or drink more water.
Yeah, waiting for a political savior to hand you a successful life is just a guaranteed path to lifelong resentment. Because they can't do it for you.
They really can't. Your daily habits are entirely unlegislatable.
I love that word, unlegislatable. So we spend immense amounts of emotional energy checking the waiting room monitors for updates. We're checking on relatives, prices, the economy, the government.
Refreshing the feed constantly.
Right. And if all of those external factors combined amount to, well, not much change in our actual lived experience, what is the mission of our deep dive today? How do we actually build a framework to get out of the waiting room entirely?
The mission is a complete reorientation of your locus of control. There's a very stark warning embedded in this philosophy. The source material says if you don't make plans of your own, you will inevitably fit into someone else's plans.
And what do they have planned for you?
Not much. Exactly. Not much. So our goal today is to distill this into a highly practical framework for a daily routine. We are going to look at mastering a few essential habits, the fundamentals of success, that allow you to dictate your own trajectory, regardless of what the external world is doing.
Because, you're listening to this because you are tired of that passive reliance. You want to take charge. So today, we are handing you the blueprint to stop drifting and start steering.
We're going to examine how to shift your internal operating system, really.
Yeah, how to redefine our cultural understanding of what easy means, how to diagnose the hidden disease of daily neglect, and how to harness the equalizing force of time management.
It requires abandoning the role of the passive observer and becoming the active architect of your days.
I love that, the active architect. Okay, so let's start with the pivot. We've diagnosed the problem of the not much list. The solution introduced here revolves around a singular conditional promise.
Yes, the promise from Jim Rohn's teacher, Mr. Schaff.
Right. And this promise, it completely sidesteps the economy, the government, and the prices. It simply states, if you will change, everything will change for you.
The absolute nature of that statement is what makes it so disruptive. If you will change. It places the entire burden of outcomes squarely on your shoulders.
A lot of pressure, honestly.
It is. Psychologically, this is the shift from an external locus of control, which is believing things happen to you, to an internal locus of control, believing you make things happen.
It is deeply empowering, but like you said, it carries a heavy weight of responsibility. Because you can no longer blame the wind for blowing you off course.
Exactly. You own the outcome.
But I want to challenge that slightly, though, because if you change, everything will change. It sounds amazing on like a motivational poster. But what about systemic realities?
Right, the real-world obstacles.
Yeah. What about people who are born into severe poverty or face massive institutional hurdles? Does merely changing their internal philosophy magically fix their bank account or dissolve those real-world barriers?
And that is the necessary friction of this concept. It's a great question. Because no, a shift in philosophy does not obliterate systemic inequality. And it doesn't bend the laws of physics or economics.
Right, it's not a magic spell.
It isn't. The philosophy isn't about denying reality. It is about optimizing your response to reality. If you are born into a severe disadvantage, the external headwinds are objectively stronger against you. That is just a fact.
So how does the philosophy apply there?
Well, waiting for society to perfectly level the playing field before you take action just ensures you remain paralyzed. The promise is that if you change your approach, how you learn, how you network, how you manage whatever meager resources you currently have, your specific outcomes will change relative to where you started.
I see. So it's about relative progress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You maximize your agency within your current constraints, which is arguably the only reliable way to eventually break out of those constraints.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It's not magic, it's optimization. So, if I accept that responsibility, what exactly am I supposed to change first? Because it's not about immediately changing jobs or moving to a new city or trying a new fad diet, right?
No. The source material dictates that the very first thing you change is internal. You have to change your philosophy.
Okay, but we need to define philosophy in this context.
Sure.
Because I think people hear that and they picture sitting on a mountain pondering Socrates or something.
Yeah, like academic philosophy. But that's not it at all. It means rewriting your mental operating system. It is the active process of gathering new knowledge, exposing yourself to opposing viewpoints, and fundamentally making better decisions about what constitutes value in your life.
Making better decisions about what is valuable. That phrase right there, it feels like the engine of this entire behavioral shift.
It really is, because human beings are value-driven creatures.
Right. If I value neurological comfort over long-term growth, my daily routine will reflect that perfectly. I will scroll on social media for 3 hours instead of reading a dense, challenging book. My automated behaviors simply follow my internal value hierarchy.
And neuroplasticity actually proves this. Your brain optimizes for whatever you repeatedly value. Your philosophy is the filter through which you view every single micro decision in your day.
So if my operating system is programmed to believe that external forces control my destiny, my behavioral output will be passive.
Exactly. You'll complain, you'll wait in the waiting room. But if you update that operating system with the belief that your internal growth dictates your external reality, your outputs change dramatically. You start evaluating whether scrolling for 3 hours actually serves your new value hierarchy.
And this creates a huge ripple effect, doesn't it? Changing your philosophy doesn't just make you a better worker, it changes your physical health, your relationship with your family, your income. It's this concept of interconnectedness. If you change, it all changes.
Right. And we desperately try to compartmentalize our lives. We think we have a career box and a fitness box and a marriage box.
Oh, I do this all the time.
We all do. We assume we can be totally undisciplined in our fitness, but highly disciplined in our career. But it rarely works long term.
Why is that?
Because the underlying philosophy, how you approach friction, your relationship with delayed gratification, how you value time, it permeates every single box. The discipline required to manage a monthly budget is neurologically identical to the discipline required to maintain a healthy diet.
That is so true. It's all just impulse control and delayed gratification. Which brings us to what I think is the most elegant metaphor for this entire internal shift.
The sailing metaphor.
Yes. Because it's human nature to hope things get easier. If you are struggling, you just want the wind to die down. But the philosophy argues that wishing for the wind to change in your favor is naive at best.
It's completely passive.
Right. So the key is not to wish for a better wind, but to wish for the wisdom to set a better sail.
The sailing metaphor is structurally perfect for understanding human agency. Because in aerodynamics, the wind is an objective, amoral force.
Right. It doesn't care about you.
It does not care if you are a good person, a hard worker, or a victim. It just blows. Sometimes you have a tailwind, sometimes you have a massive headwind, but every sailor on the ocean is dealing with the exact same weather system at that moment.
So the economy is the wind. The interest rates are the wind. The job market is the wind.
Exactly. And the difference between the sailor who crashes onto the rocks and the sailor who reaches the harbor is not the wind. It is entirely the mechanical skill of the sailor.
Okay, break that down for me. How does the sail actually work in this context?
Think about the physics of it. A sail doesn't just catch the wind and get pushed passively. Through the physics of lift, a properly tensioned sail creates a pressure differential that actually generates forward momentum even when sailing into a headwind.
Wait, really? You can sail into the wind?
Yes. You have to tack, of course, but it uses the resistance of the environment to create progress.
That is fascinating. So, setting a better sail means actively manipulating the tension of your own mind and your daily routine to leverage whatever environment you find yourself in.
Exactly. You stop asking the economy to coddle you, and you figure out how to angle your skills to generate lift out of a recession.
Wow. Which is the entire basis of a robust daily routine, because your routine cannot be dependent on a good day where you feel motivated.
A routine built only for tailwinds is useless.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. A true daily routine functions as a well-set sail. It keeps you moving forward even when the external environment is howling right in your face.
That's the goal. But, we have to acknowledge that making this massive life shift sounds daunting. It sounds exhausting.
It really does. We are culturally conditioned to believe that building wealth or achieving incredible health requires some sort of Herculean, agonizing effort that is just completely out of reach for a normal person working a 9-to-5.
We completely romanticize the grind. We think success requires 100-hour work weeks, sheer agony, and a total lack of sleep.
But, and here's where it gets really interesting, the source material explicitly states that the process of revolutionizing your life and building out this success routine is actually easy.
Yes, easy, which trips a lot of people up.
It does. Jim Rohn noted that he worked incredibly hard for 6 years to change his life, getting up early, staying up late, yet he maintained that the actions he was taking were easy. So how do we reconcile immense, tiring effort with the word easy?
We have to completely sever the word easy from the concept of effortless.
Okay, what's the difference?
Easy does not mean lounging in a hammock while checks arrive in the mail. The definition used here for easy is simply something I could do. It is a measure of physical and cognitive capability, not a lack of exertion.
Ah, so it's about accessibility.
Precisely. Drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning is easy. You are physically capable of turning on the tap. Reading 10 pages of a nonfiction book every day is easy. You know the alphabet, and you can find 10 spare minutes. Taking a 15-minute walk is easy.
The fundamental actions that compound into massive life changes, they aren't quantum mechanics. They don't require an elite IQ or superhuman genetics. They're entirely mundane, highly accessible, and incredibly manageable actions. By definition, they are easy to execute.
They are. Anyone can do them.
But this raises a massive red flag for me, though. If the actions that lead to a successful, wealthy, healthy life are so incredibly easy to do, if they are just basic things anyone is capable of executing, why didn't everybody around Jim Rohn get rich during those same 6 years? Why are so many people broke, out of shape, and miserable if the cure is easy?
And that is the hinge upon which this entire philosophy swings. The answer is arguably the most profound insight of this entire framework. It's the great divider.
Okay, lay it on us.
The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do.
The things that are easy to do are also easy not to do. It's almost chilling how simple that is.
It is the fundamental difference between success and failure. Because these fundamental actions are so small, so deeply mundane, and seemingly so insignificant in the present moment, the immediate consequence of skipping them is zero.
Let's talk about the psychological mechanism there. Say I decide I want to be a marathon runner, and today my easy task is just to run 1 mile.
Right. Very manageable.
But if I just decide to stay on the couch instead, my legs don't instantly atrophy. I don't lose my job. Nobody knocks on my door to yell at me. There is absolutely no immediate friction to failing.
None at all. In behavioral psychology, this is known as temporal discounting. The human brain is wired by evolution to prioritize immediate rewards over future benefits.
So the couch wins.
The couch usually wins. Conserving energy on the couch provides an immediate, tangible comfort. Running a mile provides a microscopic, invisible benefit to your cardiovascular system that won't truly materialize for months. The brain looks at that equation and says, the reward for not doing it is instant. The penalty for not doing it is non-existent right now. Skip it.
So we are faced every single day, in dozens of micro moments, with a choice between two paths, the two easies. It is easy to do the fundamental habit. It is equally easy to skip it.
And both require roughly the exact same amount of immediate physical friction.
Right. It is easy to order a salad. It is easy to order a burger. It is easy to invest $50. It is incredibly easy to spend $50 on random impulse purchases.
And the secret to Jim Rohn attaining wealth and success by age 31 was distilled into just one sentence. I did not neglect to do the easy things I could do every day for 6 years.
Wow. It's a statement of radical endurance. Notice what he didn't say there. He didn't say, I invented a disruptive technology. He didn't say, I leveraged complex derivatives. He said, I did not neglect to do the easy things.
He relentlessly chose the easy to do over the easy not to do for 6 straight years.
And when you apply this to building a daily routine, it completely removes the paralyzing pressure to be brilliant. You don't need a routine packed with massive, exhausting leaps of innovation. You just need a routine built on a few easy fundamentals that you refuse to neglect. It's all about consistency over intensity.
It is, but we have to explore the dark side of that equation.
The dark side.
Yeah, because choosing the easy not to do isn't a neutral action. We tend to think that if we skip a good habit, we just stay in the same place. We think we're just hitting pause on the game.
Right, like no harm, no foul.
Exactly. But the philosophy argues that choosing the second easy is actually an act of active sabotage.
Okay, this moves us into the pathology of neglect. If doing the easy things builds the life we want, what actually happens to our brains and our lives when we consistently choose the easy not to do? What does this all mean?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, neglect is identified as the major disease that strips people of health, wealth, and influence in America. It is not a lack of opportunity or a lack of resources that destroys most people.
It's the neglect.
It is the subtle, silent creep of neglect. And the framework uses a deeply accurate medical metaphor for this. Neglect starts as an infection, but if left untreated, it becomes a disease.
Let's look at the biology of an infection for a second. An infection doesn't usually start with a massive trauma, right? It starts with a tiny, almost imperceptible breach, a paper cut, a scrape on the knee that you don't even bother to wash out because it seems so insignificant.
That tiny breach is what a daily neglect is.
Skipping your morning workout because you're tired is a paper cut.
Yes. Ignoring one credit card statement because you don't want to deal with the anxiety of looking at the balance is a scrape. In isolation, on a random Tuesday, it's nothing.
But if you leave that tiny cut untreated, bacteria gets in. It festers. The infection spreads. How does this look in our daily behavior?
It manifests as cascading system failure. Behavioral psychologists talk about the broken windows theory, but applied to personal habits.
Oh, I've heard of that for cities, but how does it work for habits?
Well, if a building has one broken window that goes unfixed, vandals will soon break the rest of the windows because the unfixed window signals a lack of order and care. When you neglect one area of your life, it signals to your brain that the identity of discipline is broken.
The domino effect is brutal.
Yeah.
So if you neglect to do wise things with your money, you will probably neglect your time, and then you'll neglect your business.
Exactly. You let your financial discipline slip, and suddenly your brain rationalizes, well, we are already ignoring the budget, so hitting the snooze button 3 times isn't a big deal either.
Oh man, I feel seen. And then the snooze button turns into showing up late and unprepared for work, which turns into neglecting your professional responsibilities, which creates stress, which causes you to neglect your diet.
The infection jumps. It jumps from the financial system to the time management system to the biological system.
It eventually just has you by the throat, emptying your purse, emptying your heart, emptying your potential for any kind of power or influence. It literally chokes the life out of you.
And the most terrifying part is the formula for disaster, which relies entirely on time.
Right, the example used in the source material is so relatable. It's the walking around the block anecdote.
Such a good example.
You should walk around the block for your health. You could do it, it's easy, but you don't do it.
And as we established, missing that walk today doesn't cause a heart attack tonight. The consequences of neglect are delayed.
But that delay is a trap.
A massive trap. The formula for disaster is simply allowing that missed walk and a few other small daily neglects to accumulate. You just let them pile up, unchecked, for 6 years.
And what happens after 6 years of drifting and neglect? You don't just stagnate, you regress. The picture painted here is visceral. After 6 years of the easy not to do, you wake up driving what you don't want to drive, wearing what you don't want to wear, living where you don't want to live, and becoming someone you really didn't want to become.
It is the ultimate portrait of a life lived by default. If you are not actively setting the sail through intentional daily discipline, the currents of the world will pull you wherever they naturally flow.
And the natural currents of consumer society do not flow toward wealth, health, or enlightenment.
Not at all. They flow toward debt, lethargy, and mediocrity.
You literally look in the mirror one day and realize you are trapped in a reality you completely despise, all because you didn't take a 15-minute walk or save $20 or read 10 pages every day for a few years.
The disparity between the microscopic size of the initial misstep and the massive catastrophe of the final destination is genuinely terrifying.
It is. The text has this incredibly poetic, haunting warning to conclude this segment. It says that neglect will strip your values and leave you with just a little bit of dust in a summer wind.
Just a little bit of dust in a summer wind. It's chilling.
That is the most potent argument for taking control of your daily routine I have ever heard. You aren't just trying to be more productive. You are fighting for your very substance. You are fighting to remain solid rather than disintegrating into the background noise of life.
The imperative is absolute. We have to eradicate neglect. We must choose the easy to do consistently.
But this introduces a massive practical problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, how to actually do it.
Right. How do we structure our days to ensure we're doing the right, easy things? Because it is entirely possible to be exhausted from doing 100 easy tasks that don't actually move the needle at all.
We've all had those days where we're busy for 10 hours and accomplish nothing.
Exactly. So how do we fight neglect and intentionally design our daily routine to guarantee success? This brings us to time management, the 80-20 reality, and mastering the basics.
We have to start by confronting the ultimate equalizer. We live in a world of profound inequality, wealth, genetics, geography. But there is one resource distributed with absolute, uncompromising equality.
Time. The text mentions this incredible discovery. Rich people and poor people both have exactly 24 hours in a day. And honestly, this fact should drive you mad. It should keep you awake at night until you figure out why the outcomes are so drastically different.
If the input of time is identical, how can the output of health and wealth be so radically different? The answer is time management.
It's the ability to extract totally different outcomes from the exact same raw material.
Exactly. So how do the successful people allocate those 24 hours? They apply a mathematical concept to their habits. They operate on the reality that there are usually about a half dozen things that make 80% of the difference.
Yeah, the classic Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule applied to human behavior.
Right. And it's not strictly exactly 6 things or exactly 80%. It might be 5 things making 75% of the difference or 7 things making 90%. But the overarching concept is to find the few things that make the most difference.
This is incredibly relieving to hear. When we think about the phrase daily routine for success, we usually picture these grueling, hyper-optimized itineraries with 150 different micro-habits. You know, ice baths, journaling, meditation, supplements, inbox zero. It's exhausting just reading about it.
It is, but the reality is much simpler. The source provides examples to prove this isn't overwhelming. For good health, there are not 1,000 things you have to do perfectly every day. There are just about a half dozen core practices.
Right. Think about the biological fundamentals. Consistent sleep, adequate hydration, basic resistance training, eating whole foods, managing stress. That's 5 things. If you master those 5, you have solved 80 to 90% of all preventable health challenges. You don't need a spreadsheet to track 50 different biohacking metrics if you are nailing the 5 fundamentals.
And the exact same applies to business. Setting up a functional, profitable office doesn't require a 500-item daily checklist. Prioritizing the primary project, executing deep work without distraction, communicating clearly with clients. A few things take care of most of the challenges.
This raises an important question, though. If the formula is just identifying and executing a half dozen basic things, where are people getting their ratios mixed up? Why are so many professionals chronically stressed, overworked, and yet entirely stagnant in their careers?
Because they fall into the trap of false productivity. The text says people fail because they major in minor things.
Oh, majoring in minor things. I love that phrasing.
They spend massive amounts of time and major money on things that simply don't count and too little time on the things that do. They get the ratios completely mixed up.
The human brain actually loves majoring in minor things, doesn't it? Because minor things provide rapid, low-friction dopamine hits.
They do. They feel like progress without the pain of actual deep work.
Give me an example of that in the modern workplace. How do we major in minor things today?
Let's look at the Notion Workspace example or any project management tool. You have a massive project proposal due that will dictate the trajectory of your entire quarter. Writing that proposal is the fundamental task. It's the easy to do that requires intense cognitive focus.
Right, but it's hard work.
Exactly. So instead of doing it, you spend 3 hours color-coding your project management software, organizing your email folders, and rearranging your desk.
It feels like work. You are totally exhausted at the end of those 3 hours.
It masquerades as productivity perfectly. But organizing your folders contributes to maybe 2% of your actual success. You spent major time on a minor thing, and you neglected the fundamental task. You majored in minor things.
So the ultimate daily routine challenge for the listener is a ruthless audit. You have to strip away the noise and identify your specific half-dozen fundamentals. What are the 6 daily actions that actually drive your career forward? What are the 6 habits that keep you mentally and physically sharp?
And once you identify those, the mandate is clear. You must spend the majority of your time on those few things. You have to fiercely defend your calendar against the minor distractions.
It requires saying no to a lot of easy minor tasks so you have the energy for the easy major tasks. It's all about mastering the basics. Consider the final analogy the text uses to wrap up this concept, the basketball analogy.
Oh, that's a great one. If you want to be a professional basketball player, you don't practice 1,000 random things.
Right. You don't spend 8 hours a day practicing behind the back half-court trick shots. You practice free throws. You practice defensive footwork. You run drills on passing. You take the 3 or 4 fundamental mechanics of the game and you practice them over and over.
You master the basics.
And crucially, you don't get to add your own flashy personality to the game until after you are fundamentally sound. Creativity and flair built on top of weak fundamentals just looks foolish.
Yeah.
If you want to do something extremely well and get paid well for it, you have to be relentless about the fundamentals.
We have covered an immense amount of ground here, moving from high-level philosophy down to the mechanics of a Tuesday afternoon calendar.
We really have. So let's synthesize this daily routine for the listener. Designing a successful daily routine isn't about packing 500 things into your day. And it is certainly not about sitting in the waiting room staring at the news, hoping the wind, the economy, the government will suddenly favor you.
It is a radical reclamation of your agency. It all points back to that initial promise. If you will change, everything will change for you. You have to stop looking for the perfect wind and dedicate your life to mastering the mechanics of the sail.
It means picking your half-dozen fundamentals, mastering them, and relentlessly choosing the easy to do over the easy not to do for years at a time.
Ensuring you don't let the infection of neglect turn into a life-ruining disease. Because if you drift, if you neglect the basics, you forfeit your autonomy. You prove the ultimate warning of this philosophy. If you don't make plans of your own, you will inevitably fit into someone else's plans.
And someone else's plan for you is not much.
Not much at all.
That is the hard truth we all have to face. So I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over as soon as this deep dive ends. Pull up your calendar for tomorrow. Look at the tasks that are scheduled to consume the majority of your time. Are those tasks directly serving your half-dozen fundamentals? Are they building your mind, your health, your specific fortune? Or are you spending your major time efficiently executing the minor details of someone else's plan?
That's the real test right there.
It is. Take a hard look at your own not much list. Stop waiting for your number to be called. Grab the wheel, choose the easy to do, and start setting a better sail today.